Lovelies, nice to have you here. As you guys can probably hear that my voice is not doing so good, which is super strange for me. I barely ever get sick. And I don't actually feel sick, it's just my throat's being a little bit strange. So I thought I'll take this opportunity to share with you what I'm doing to keep myself feeling good. So not just for health of the throat, but also how I'm going to try and brighten up my face and I guess distract from the fact that I'm a little bit under the weather. So the first thing I really want to share with you is purification. It's really, really important. But what I really love this one for is like an anti-infection almost. I feel like it disinfects not just the air around you, but you know, if you're feeling a bit like you've got sore ears or your kids are complaining about sore ears, just a tiny little drop right behind where the jaw is goes a really, really long way. Has actually stopped ear infections in my almost 5-year-old now. There's a few other tricks I do for things like ear infections, but that has been a real game changer. We have not been on antibiotics with him and his ears in a long time since purification. The other really obvious one, I feel like it's obvious, is your Thieves. Whoop. Okay, this one's the go-to. You know, you hear people that are into essential oils, lavender's your Swiss Army knife. Yeah, okay, it's good for a lot of stuff, but Thieves, mate, there's nothing this stuff doesn't do. But it definitely does help with the wellness line. So if you're feeling a little bit weird, feeling a little bit run down, you got to do yourself some Thieves. But I put it on everything. I put it on blemishes. It helps with healing a wound, a bit of a scab, for example. And you want to help it along. Fantastic. It really works. I don't even know how. It just does, at least for us. And it smells really good. I don't know, this is the smell of health to me. I've now fully associated this smell with what healthy is. Hello, friend. Okay, and the other thing I have actually just recently kind of rediscovered, and that is peppermint. So in the past, I had a really fantastic blemish cream that had menthol in it. It worked so good. Oh, it just took away so much of the redness and so much of the angriness that blemishes especially have, rashes or breakouts have. And it didn't sting or anything. And this has got peppermint oil in it, and that's it. None of those additives that any facial creams would have. So I've just been adding just a tiny bit of this, and this stuff is potent. Potent. You can use it for cooking, but I would honestly, if you want a peppermint flavor in, say, a cup of tea, I would dip a toothpick in and then dip that toothpick into the tea. I would not dare use a whole drop. Oh, you'd be, you know, pepperminting for a week, I think, after that. It's really potent. I've just been dabbing it onto the areas where I've had a little bit of trouble. It's such a clean smell. It's really been doing really great things. And I've just put a little bit on my throat. I don't know what it is. I feel like I just strained my voice. I think I just talk too much. Okay, now on to makeup. Okay, so very important, especially if you're run down, but just anyway, is your skincare. So first thing I did this morning is my mirror cleanse, which I do anyway. Then I went in with my sun cream, just on the top of the cheekbone, and just a little bit wherever I see a freckle, that area gets sun cream. Now this sun cream does not cause breakouts, flashback, any of that weird stuff. In Melbourne, even on a dull day, a little bit of sun protection is not a bad idea. Even in the middle of winter, sometimes, you know, you come back and you sort of think, did I just get a tan today? And you check the UV index and it was like 8 or 9, which is, you know, middle of winter, it does happen, weirdly enough. The other thing I did today, which is really full on, and you would only ever do this if you have really dry skin, that is coconut oil. And I just put it just through there, and on my lips. You can actually still see it on the lips. They're a bit shiny. It's pretty much fully absorbed now. I can tell it's, you know, I'm not shiny anywhere. I use a very thin layer and I warm it up in my fingers first so that it does absorb really nicely. And just a raw organic, and make sure you check the back of it that it actually is organic, not just says organic in the brand. I use it for so much. So I scooped up a little bit into an old makeup jar, and it's always in my bathroom if we need it for anything, any itchies or dry patches or to put in the hair. So many uses. I'm going to do something a little bit strange that I saw on a bit of an old actually YouTube video, which I'll link below if it works. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set with a little bit of powder. I know this sounds like it's completely backwards, but it works so well on the makeup artist that was doing it, so I'm just going to try this. Okay, just a really, really light coat of powder, just neutral tone. I'm not trying to lighten or darken with this, just to a matching powder. I also forgot to mention I have moisturizer on as well, just your regular schmegular moisturizer that I use all the time, which I still haven't found a replacement for, but that's another video, isn't it? Just a really light coat everywhere. And apparently what this does is it allows your skin to be sort of prepped for foundation. I don't know, it doesn't make sense, but I'm going to try it because I have to try it for myself. I can't just believe what I see on a YouTube video, right? So what I want to use foundation for today isn't really that much coverage. I want it to brighten my skin a little bit because I feel like I'm just a little bit grayed out. Even with all these wonderful products on my skin, I just feel like I'm usually a little bit more colourful than this. Like I have a bit more rosiness to my cheeks, and I don't know, feeling a little bit flat. I'm just going to use the tiniest amount because this makeup artist suggests that you're going to need a lot less. And I'm going to use a very sheer, very light coverage foundation, which is the sheer tint. Now, to match my undertone, I've had to go for the medium because I'm a bit more of a yellow undertone. So I've just put a little tiny splodge of a light, slightly medium coverage foundation in there just to lighten it up a little. Just fill up on my kabuki and start with the under eyes. Now, this is a really, really thin texture, so I can put it everywhere, under eyes, and just build it up wherever I need to build it up. Not at all bad. So I always get caking sort of through there. It's not really bad at all. And you know, as we know, this was dry this morning, but I do have a lot of moisturizing products, so it's not doing anything bad at the moment. I guess I'll have to check in at the end of the day or take some photos later in the day and let you guys know if that really worked. So the next step would be to add more powder. So let's do that. Let's get a big brush because we want very little product. We want very light coverage. And we'll go back to that medium shade, or sand it's called. Really light, feathery, sweeping motions. So as you can see, all my spots and things are very much showing. It's a very light coverage. Okay, so that's the powder on, really, really thin. So obviously it's subdued the look of the freckles and subdued the look of the breakout, but it's not a full coverage. Yeah, I'm really keen to find out how this is going to stay. And I'm not going to even use any concealer because I feel like it's enough for going to work now. Now I've already got mascara on because I did have to run out really early this morning and drop the car off to get repaired, but I didn't do anything. I got up, we got dressed. I almost forgot to brush my teeth even, it was just manic, but we got everywhere on time. The daycare teacher even said, "Oh wow, you guys are really early today," and I'm like, don't look at me. But yes, we are. Sunglasses like this big, that's the way we do it. Straight back home and straight to this. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that so far, but what I'd like to do is really brighten the eyes. And in order to do that, I think the best place to start is a white wet line. What do you think? But I've got my Sephora brand crayon. With these types of pencils, I always like to give them a sharpen if I say don't remember when I last used it, or if I'm using it on somebody else, for example, I'll definitely give it a sharpen. The idea of spreading stuff is, I can't. Not in my line of work. The amount of eye infections I see, not happening. Alright, so what we're going to do is just with the fourth finger, just very, very slightly pull. We're not going to try, I'm going to show you this, but you don't do this, okay? You don't do that. You don't want to see, you know, where your eyeball connects to your brain. You just want a tiny little bit of pressure, just to invert a little, and just very light, almost like a tickle, very light strokes, and you should be able to feel where your lashes are when you do this. Okay, so already the eye looks a bit bigger. The other thing I do is I extend just a little bit beyond. You can see a bit on this side, just a little bit beyond. So I'm going to go in now with the second liner. I'm going to use a bit of a trick with powder. So we've done a really good job of brightening under here with the pressed powder and with the light foundation. If you still felt that you had a bit of darkness there, go in with a cream concealer and just lighten here, or maybe even a lighter powder, and lighten through the bits that feel a little bit darkened. I don't feel like I have that problem today, but I do feel like this here is just, what is this? This isn't me. Come on. Okay, so we're going to try and distract from that, because from a colour point of view, it looks pretty even because of the products that are there already. But I know, and from the side you'd be able to tell, that there's a bit of puffiness still there. I've got this really tiny angled brush, and I've got some loose powder here, loose pigment. Such a beautiful colour. I don't know, it's amazing. Always know what's in my products, but because it's a little bit old, and you can see it's been used right up. I have done this with my setting spray, but because I found this, I want to use it. So I've just put a little bit of powder and that product in the lid. I'm going to give it a bit of a mix. There you go, that's the consistency there. And now, just going to go right under the lashes. So what I do is I point my pointy end of the angle wherever I want to draw. So I'm pointing it outwards here because that's where I want it to draw, and then I'll point it inwards when I'm going in here. Go a little lower, just to open up that eye. Look at that. Still pretty. That's the two eyes done with the underline. Now I know this is continuing with the idea of doing your makeup backwards, but I guess I wanted to see what happens here before I decide how strong I'm going to go with the eyes, because I was trying to do a little bit more of a light look, but with the bit of brightness just to bring up the face a little. Okay, so now that I know that this has turned out like this, I'm going to go in with this beautiful, very neutral brown with a very big blending brush and facing it up towards my crease. Careful not to disturb that line we just drew, and just really work it into the brow bone. So I don't want it in my crease, I really just want it on my brow bone because I want a lifted look. And even though my eyes, they're a little bit hooded, but that's not really a problem though for me, just because of the positioning of it all. But I'm still going to use the same technique you would on a hooded eye, in that I'm keeping the product off the crease. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fluffy flat brush, probably my favourite brush ever. Check that it's properly cleaned. Yeah, that's good. And I'm going to take a very, very light colour now, something like that. An underbrow colour, it's that light. I'm going to start in the corner, just patting it on and working across. This one will go all the way up until the crease. Okay, and I can even use it to just get that corner there. And it blends in really nicely with the white pencil and the blue shimmer, like that. Then what I want to do is go back with this brush, back with the brown, and just ever so slightly come down in just the corner. And then with a really small blending brush or crease brush, I'm going to go for this one. It's not that small, but it's a lot smaller than the other one. I'm just going to go for a dark brown. That's the colour there. It's got almost like a red kind of sparkle to it. But I definitely recommend using a very fluffy brush. If you can get something smaller, it'll just be easier to control. So we're just going to go right into that corner, and almost like a stamping action first. Just really in that corner V, okay. Okay, and then just build up that corner like that. Now, obviously, if you go the other way and you start with the lid colour and then do the crease, or the crease and the lid and then do the under eye last, that sort of thing, you just don't have to be as careful because you're building it up in order, but both ways work. Really awesome. The only thing I want to do now is, because I've got this beautiful blue defining line, I want to go in and just extend the top lashes a little bit with a black pencil. So we've got our defining pencil in jet, okay, and I just really want to just very lightly and gently extend it. They're almost not touching, almost, the two lines, just like that. So one's just ever so slightly hovering over the other. Come a bit closer to the camera so you can see. Okay. I already have my eyelashes and brows on from earlier, and just bronzer. That's it. I could use a highlight as well, just if I wanted to bring up the face even more. But I just feel like that would be so much extra. I've already got this bright blue line there, so just a bit of bronzer is all I'm going to do, just to keep it more simple. If I was going out, I would definitely go highlighter. I'd probably do a thicker eyeliner, you know, contour properly, all that sort of stuff. But I think this is way cute already, and yeah. So lovely having you here with me today. Thank you for coming along on the journey with me. If you liked what we did today, or if you liked any of the other videos, please subscribe. I am going to try my best to upload on Sundays and Tuesdays, and I'm just really loving all of this, so I really hope that you are too. And leave me a comment, you know, leave me a like, it really helps. You tell your friends to watch and subscribe as well, and definitely come along onto Instagram or my Facebook page, and leave a comment there too. Come and say hi, and I'll follow you back. Alright, have an amazing day, and I really appreciate you coming and watching me do my makeup. I hope you learned something. I hope that this will last the day, like that particular artist said. I'll definitely credit them below if it does work. I just don't want to say anything bad if it doesn't about this person, because I do have a lot of respect for this artist and a lot of the tips that they have. So I'll wait to see what's going on. Yeah, so I think I might put some gloss on as well, just to really brighten up, give a bit of colour to that coconut oil. Other than that, this is it. So there'll be photos to follow as always. And it is now almost 11 p.m. so it's been 12.5 hours or more, nearly 13 hours of wear with this makeup. I have not touched it, I have not reapplied, I haven't blotted it or anything like that. You can definitely see that the T-zone is now a little bit shiny. I do have a tendency to touch my face, and being a little bit under the weather today, I have been coughing a little bit today, so you know, I have rubbed it off in certain places, but you know, that's going to happen. But overall, I'm feeling really good about this technique, and I think I will be using it again, especially if I don't want to be wearing a lot of makeup, or I have a really long day at work, but I still want to freshen up. I still want to look like things are nice and healthy, even though they might not be. So I've got my honey and water and a drop of lemon essential oil in there as well. I don't know what this is. This is some silly bug. It doesn't hurt. I feel fine. I'm not even more tired than I normally would be by now. Just this silly itchy throat. So hopefully I wake up tomorrow morning brand new. So there's a link to the video below. It is from 2014, but good advice never dates. I'm really excited about this technique. I'm excited that YouTube suggested this video to me, and I can now pass it on to you. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!